Trump is the dad that everyone needs.
I don't think he's racist. I think he's classist.
It will be safer if people didn't have guns. So
Right.
what's your response to that?
Our discipline is sexual discipline, eating discipline. Our discipline period is very lackadaisical. So I would say start with fasting. Most men are going to deal with multiple women or another woman at some period in his life. And then I got 5 mothers to my children. So don't let me be beefing with these two. And I think a lot of people don't take into account that their children are not even ready to mentally deal with what school.
Welcome back to another episode of the Black and Jewish podcast. I'm so excited for my special guest that I have this week, Derrick Grace II.
Firstly, I appreciate you having me. Like I said on record, again, sorry for the delay because traffic was terrible. I'm usually not late. I apologize.
I'm just so happy that you came all the way to Miami to do the interview. So it's all good.
No problem.
Okay, Derrick. So you made this very bold statement that I have to ask you about. You said Trump is the dad that everyone needs. And I want to know, what did you mean by that statement? Did you mean like the leadership dad, the protector dad, masculinity dad?
Well, that's a good question because I didn't think of all those different levels of dadism.
Yeah.
I think leadership. I feel like he culturally puts us in a position where we got to perform at a high level should we want to enjoy living in America. So I just feel like he raises the bar and the standard, whether we like it or not. He raises the bar and the standard and pushes us to perform at a level that we typically wouldn't because we may be docile, we may be lazy, we may be complacent, whatever the case may be. So I do like when he's in office because it's high energy, it's high stakes, high competition, and you're gonna eat or you're gonna be eating.
Okay, Derrick. So, a lot of the Black community has felt, especially with this last race, we did see more like Black men come out and support Trump and then Black women feeling like they're left behind. What do you think it is about Trump that the Black community is just not getting right or not understanding, and they just feel like this administration is so racist?
Okay, that's a good question. I don't think he's racist. I think he's classist.
Mm,
Do I think the ways and the bylaws of the country are moral? No, but I understand business.
okay.
So from a business standpoint, it makes perfect sense the way that he run a country. Like the best analogy I give everybody is you in the playoffs. Each race is a player. So let's say the black culture is the point guard, white culture is the shooting guard, Asian culture is center, power forward, so forth and so on.
Okay.
If it's just simple logic, and people got to remove the emotions, but it's
Right.
simple logic. If my culturally black point guard is not performing well, I'm going to sub him out of the game. As a country on a global scale, America is trying to win. America is trying to be the best country. So it makes sense to give favoritism and show more love to your player, aka the culture that performs the best on the court. So I totally get like giving certain favors and certain interests and certain resources to certain demographics of people because they're going to actually do something with it.
Right.
Rather than passing the ball to somebody that's not going to take the winning shot. They're scared. They don't want to be the floor general. You don't need to be a point guard. So I don't think he's racist. Maybe prejudice, and I think everybody got a little prejudice in them.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Especially at the Black table, we talk about everybody.
Yeah, we do. I tell people
We say those white people, them Indians, the so-and-so.
Right. I had to check myself many years ago. It's a book I read by an author named Joe Dumas called 24 Reasons Why African Americans Suffer. And I found myself I remember being in Atlanta one day with my daughter. It's at night. We moving through Midtown, and I remember seeing a white guy was walking by. And I move in proximity. I have a way that I like to move with my family. And I remember feeling less threatened. I let my daughter stay on my right hip where that guy was. 'Cause I'm not gonna lie, I just looked at him as a weaker vessel. He ain't gonna do nothing, ain't worry about him.
Right.
But I remember 5 minutes later, somebody that looked just like me walked by, and I moved her to my left. And I remember just jogging my memory, where's my pistol at? And in that moment, I had to do some self-checking and realize we just as prejudiced, and we more prejudiced against each other than any other demographic or races. Sometimes we are our most terrible person to deal with. We hate our reflection a lot of times.
You talk a lot about solutions, especially for the Black community, and I definitely want to get into the family Bible. But what issue do you think is the main issue, or even maybe the top 2 to 3 issues in the Black community that you feel really need to be addressed?
Top 2 or 3, I would say number 1 would be our understanding of law. To live in a country that is a police state, essentially meaning every portion of this country is ran or governed by law enforcement, and to move through it with no knowledge on them whatsoever until we run into them one day and go to jail is crazy to me. That's a recipe for disaster. And especially if you a criminal or doing something criminalistic, you should be the smartest person in the room when it comes to law enforcement because you're gonna need it.
You telling the criminals they need to know how to get around the law?
For sure.
Derrick, what?
I'm just saying, I just hate that they wait till they get 100 years and they're like, man, I'm finna hit the law library and I'm finna pray and be a good person. Like,
Right.
let's practice preventative maintenance, especially if you know you're in a certain lane.
Right.
Focus on beating them at their own game if that's really what you choose to do. Number two would be, what's number two? Number two would be our codependence. Because I feel like we're overly dependent on everybody else and we generally do have a savior complex.
Okay.
So I think if we worked on 1 and 2 and sprinkled a little self-defense and a little independence in there, I think we'll be a lot better off. I know most people think wealth, but I don't think so.
I've been like swirling around with this idea because I'm Black and I'm Jewish, right? And so in Judaism, obviously we were slaves in Egypt. And so Passover is getting ready to come up for us where we celebrate, or not celebrate, but we remember the times that we were slaves, right? And so part of the mandate of remembering why we're slaves and why we have to keep Passover every week is also, not every week, every year, I'm sorry, is because we have this duty to humanity because we were once slaves. Right. So the Bible, the Torah talks about because you were slaves in Egypt, you need to treat the orphan, the widow, and the stranger like this because you were once slaves and you know how it was to be a slave and you know how it is to be a stranger in another land.
Right.
So I feel like that messaging is so empowering as like a Jewish person because if it gives me like an independence and it tells me I have to go out and do something in the world versus with Black American history, I feel like we're told about the slavery story a lot, right? But there's no empowerment behind it. We still have an entitlement. And this is not to say, okay, we didn't get our 40 acres and a mule, right? Like when we left Egypt as slaves, we took the gold from Egypt. God said, take their gold with you. Right. So I guess that could be like our reparations, right? But I just feel like we don't have this story of like, we don't find an empowerment out of everything we overcome. So like, what do you think about that?
I agree with you 1,000%. I think it's unfortunate. One of the only stories that are highlighted of some form of empowerment is Nat Turner. And even at the conclusion of that, they be sure to remind us how they turned his skin into grease and all this other crazy stuff that they did. So I'm with you 100%. I feel like that's one of the main things I talk about in the beginning of the Family Bible is your origin story and a mantra for your family. Because I feel like collectively, most of us have no self-identity. So between history, social media, and internet influences, that's where most children, in my opinion, culturally, that's where they get their opinions from, their mindset, and that translates through their adult life. So yeah, we don't really have too many winning stories or I never remember them educating me on Garvey or Mansa Musa. It was just slavery, Martin, Rosa.
W.E.B. Du Bois.
Yeah, that was it. It wasn't much. So yeah, we have no imagery, in my opinion. I don't know how school is now, but because I'm 35. But we have no like warrior spirit when it comes to Black history and culture. It's just we were victims, then we got set free, and then some of us opened businesses.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And it's sad because I believe like as I learn more too, like you said, because I wasn't taught well either. When I hear more stories come up, I'm like, wow, why? Like I learned about Black Wall Street like at 19. You know, like why didn't I learn that when I was like in middle school? That's so empowering to know like, yes, you had this terrible history, but in those tough times, this was also built. This was also built. Right. But what do you think the solution is for Black Americans to work together? I seen you did a video and you talked about, listen, we don't support each other enough. And like me being part of the Black community and the Jewish community, I see what's so powerful about the Jewish community. People think, oh, you guys are Illuminati and you have a cabal and whatever they say about us. And they think that, oh, it's the money that makes us powerful, but it's not. Really what it is, it's communal unity and being very insular and like hiring each other, working with each other, even when we don't like each other. There's a lot of things that people don't know about the Jewish community, how we do not get along, do not like each other, very judgmental of one another sometimes, but we just come together on certain issues.
I agree.
So what do you think like Black Americans could do to have that same like insular thing? And like we don't share all our problems with the family, but yeah, every family has inner problems. Right. Absolutely. You know?
I think one, they have to remember what they came for. And I even had that conversation within my household with the women in my life. Is like, I know we're gonna have spats and we're gonna bump heads and y'all may bump heads, but remember what we came for. So I think once they come, that's why I said to me, it go back to the collective identity.
Mm,
They don't know who they are, so there's no way they could link up and know who we are and what we came for. So
right.
one, I think again, the collective identity. Two is understanding. I tell everybody like this whole entire country is ran by like 13 families. Like
Hmm.
go on YouTube, it's gonna show you the Waltons, it's gonna break it down, the Saudis, everybody. If you moving with an individualistic mindset or perspective in this world and think you're gonna win any battles or get anywhere long term, you're absolutely not. You're going against whole entire machines that's been in power. Like JP Morgan Chase, that guy laid that groundwork 400 or 500 years ago. So
No.
a lot of them don't understand you're gonna have to mount up at some point. You're gonna have to find your tribe, people, and it may not be their blood relatives, but you're gonna have to find somebody that align with the things that you believe in, and y'all figure out y'all weaknesses, y'all strengths, assess those things, and figure out how y'all can basically, like somebody in my community taught me, it's like habit stack. How can we get more out the way in a quicker time? All right, well, I'm gonna handle ABC, you handle XYZ, let the kids handle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. But we just come from a culture where like they'll argue, it'll be 2 seconds left on the clock. All we need is 1 point, and they're gonna argue over who's gonna take the last shot.
Right.
My ego said I should get the ball. No, I should get the ball. And no,
Right.
I want to get the highlight. Well, I want to get the highlight. So yeah, we definitely got to get out of that singular mindset. And I'm glad you gave that example because people really do think like, yeah, they are just underground, part of the Illuminati. They don't have no problems. They don't bump heads. Like,
Oh, it's tons of problems. It's
yeah,
just like y'all just don't know about it,
right,
you
right.
know?
No, I'm sure it is, but culturally, we just, yeah, I don't know. We just thoroughly enjoy the divide, but wonder why we're not getting nowhere. So I just think they're gonna have to get the little Men in Black zapper and just revamp the whole mindset at some point because we not even approaching the game or even understand it is a game to begin with.
Yeah. Another thing that I really love that you push, I know everyone knows you because like you had your children
Hmm.
breaking down guns and putting them
Hmm.
together. But one thing that I love that you also push that I don't know if people talk about as much is arming women.
Right.
And especially in a culture where, we're taught to be very passive as women
I get in a lot of
and
trouble about this topic.
okay, great. We're taught to be more passive about our safety and also, like this is why we marry strong men so they
Right.
can protect us. It wasn't actually until I spoke to our mutual friend Maj where he
Mhm.
was like, yeah, a man's supposed to be a protector, but you should be able to protect yourself if I'm not
Right.
around. Like, what if I die? What if this happens? What if that happens?
Right.
And then it got me thinking like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. You know what I mean? Because to me, I'm like, my daddy protects me,
Right.
and
Right.
like
Right.
that's just how it goes. But
Right.
like I've moved away. I've
Mhm.
lived in Israel. I've lived over here. Like I'm not always
Oh, you
around
from
my
Israel?
yeah, I
Oh, that's what's
do.
up.
So like I'm not always around my father or
Right.
my brothers. And so there are a lot of times where I'm by myself at the gas station and etc. And so this message of like arming women, I really love it. And I would love for you to expound on like why you teach that.
Yeah, for sure. Well, one, the rules and regulations are different. So when I was younger, I was around my brothers, around my uncles. They had bylaws where like women and children and older people, elders were off limits. That has
Hmm.
completely changed.
Okay.
We lived in an era where they're actually targeting women and children because they seek them out, believing they're weaker vessels.
Mhm.
I believe if you're moving, especially in public, with a woman who doesn't carry or doesn't know the proper responses or training, if adversity does strike, that's a liability. Like moving with the wrong woman or child can get you killed in an emergency situation. I've seen, well, not seen, but I've heard like mass shootings take place and people actually run towards the gun. And
Mm.
that's because these people have no awareness. They've never been trained on this and they just think like life is just going to be flowers and balloons until somebody got a chip on their shoulder. They walk in a coffee shop and they want to shoot somebody at random.
Yeah.
And then too, like as far as the wolves and street politics, men or wolves per se, they'll play on that you may have a weak woman on your side. And I've been in
Mm.
situations where like if a man can't find another man, he might do something to your woman or your children. So you have to go find him. Or
Mm.
people get even in those ways. So because I've been outside myself, I've been a 911 dispatcher. I've been on both sides of the fence. I've shot somebody. I've been in interrogation rooms. I just understand the variables that come with walking outside every day in America. So yeah, to me, it's a mandatory. The whole family got to know how to shoot. The whole family got to know how to protect themselves. And my goal or my vision for the women is not for them to save me, but at least know how to save
Give
yourself.
yourself.
Like get out
Oh.
my way. Don't
Yeah. Oh,
don't be so emotionally moved and erratic if something pop off that I gotta carry you like I gotta carry the babies. You ain't
right.
gonna make it out of here.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
yeah, I feel like those
So
women,
we become a
yeah,
liability.
if it pop off, they just a complete because like as a man, you want to protect the woman. You don't want nothing to happen to her. So
Right.
that's when you find yourself in the movie scene. You gotta go take a bullet and she hold you in her arms till you die and transition. No, at least know
We
how to
could
survive.
fight together.
Right. At least
Yeah.
know how to survive or get out of here. Like leave me if anything, but don't get in my way as I'm trying to save the whole family.
Right. I
Yeah.
understand. Okay. So how can women out there, like women like me who like we believe in this, we get the message, but we don't know where to start. Like
Mm.
where do we start with like learning how to use firearms?
So I know back home, and of course that's back home if you local. We do have a gun store in Florida. In
Okay.
Tampa, Florida, it's called Grace Ultimate Guns. But if they're looking for online training, they're looking for certifications. My lady over there to my left, she teaches that. That's like her and my daughter are my go-to when it comes to firearms for women. And they're a lot more
Okay.
gentle than I am because I don't have the patience. I'm
Right.
be like, look, did not tell you hold a gun like this, and I'm gonna get pissed off. But
We need the woman's touch.
yeah, no, she does a lot of that. She has a book on it. She has different classes that she teaches, and my father's retired Secret Service, so she spent a lot of time with my dad in the gun store, learning certain things from him, so she can go, because he's not as hands on. He's not social media type. He work in a gun store and go home, but she's more so the one that steps out publicly and spreads that information and show women by example how to shoot, how to carry, how to protect themselves. Ladies, please take them guns out your purses because nobody's gonna let you say time out and reach in the purse. I'm so sick of that. But yeah, it's a lot of stuff that
Give
she
us a
teaches.
quick tip on like how do we care if we're in a skirt or a dress? I know she's like in a body dress today, so like
yeah,
where you carry it at?
you could go for a thigh holster or you could
Okay.
go for like just a regular waist holster. But of course, you would need something to cover it. Now, if you're in an open carry state, then by all means, just walk around with it out and you safe and sound. But I just encourage that because I see a lot of women do that. But I just know in real time, unless she's training to shoot through that purse, which that is possible. I'm sure some women out there that really train, like, I position my gun this way. If I go in with that right, I'm shooting straight through the purse. But most women aren't.
Okay.
And most people aren't going to be like, wait, time out. Let
Yes.
me get it and let's make this
Yes.
an even fight. No, they're just going to blitz
Yes.
you and then, go from there. But they have the underarm holsters, thigh, waist, pant leg. They
Okay.
got something for pretty much every outfit. They even have the body ones that you put under your clothes and you can store the guns within the holster under the clothes.
Oh, wow.
So you may have
Oh,
like one between the breast that she could pop out with, the side, the back, everything.
the technology is
Oh yeah,
there.
yeah. Yeah, no,
Okay.
we actually used to sell them a couple years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you say to people? I have a lot of followers who are just anti-gun, period. They're
Hmm.
like, we have police officers for that. We can call 911 for that. We're from New York. We don't run like that. And I'm like, you're from New York. Like, do you see the subway? Like,
Yeah,
I
New
don't
York
even
is,
ride
I
the
tell
subway when
everybody
I go
that's
there.
Gotham. I hate the New York laws. Like, how do y'all have like that dangerous city and don't let nobody protect themselves?
Yeah, so a lot of the Jewish community is very like liberal and leftist, and they just really believe like no guns and it will be safer if people didn't have guns. So
Right.
what's your response to that?
I would just simply tell them look up the statistics in America. I tell everybody like I urge them to look up the crime statistics in a 30-mile radius of their home, anywhere they're traveling, and
Mm,
just cut on the news or cut on social media and just type in shooting. No, go to Twitter and type the word shooting in, and Twitter will show you everything you need to see about how close danger is. And a lot of us just we within 5 miles of the wolves and they out there. So
yeah,
yeah, that's really how I taught my children early on. I teach by example. That's why
yeah.
like I post the things I do. I make the type of green screens I do because people don't verbally they don't get it. They have to really see like your neighbor unfortunately got shot 20 times last night.
Wow.
So let me show you the importance of arming yourself and your family and being vigilant every time you step out the door.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of children, my mom was like, you have to ask him because she started watching
Mm,
your content after I told her I'm
mm,
going to interview you. She's like, at what age can we start teaching the children? Like, because we have a nephew who's 12 and
mm.
another who's 5. And she's like, how did his kids learn how to do that? And she's
So
like, what, like, when do you start? And I'm
I
like,
base
I'm
it.
going to ask him.
No, that's a good question. I get that a lot. So I base it on the maturity because every child matures at different levels.
Okay.
Erica started at 3,
Okay.
but Derica has younger sisters who are 8, and they're just getting started. So it just shows like,
Okay, when you're basing it off maturity, what are the signs of maturity
okay,
to look
that's a
for?
great question too. Having a conversation with them about guns and asking them, do they know the ramifications of using a gun?
Okay.
Because a lot of children, like I have a 2-year-old, my son Supreme, he plays with his gun in a playful state. So I
Okay.
know he's not ready to hold a real one because he's gonna run up to somebody and go pow pow like he usually does, and now we got
Okay.
an accidental shooting.
Okay.
So having that conversation, and if they want to go the extra step, even going to Amazon and purchasing one of the rubber ones to start training them, just to show them, like, because you may not want to put an actual gun in their hand yet. It
Okay.
may be too hyper, it may be too antsy, it may even be too heavy. So
Okay.
you go get the orange ones, and you teach them trigger control. You teach them. Really, the biggest thing to me is teaching them that these have the potential to end a life, and them
Okay.
understanding what death is and that that's a permanent thing.
How did you know Derica understood that at 3?
I shot somebody in front of her.
Okay.
And I saw her response, the question she asked me, and two things. I felt like it was only important that I teach her now because she saw me use the gun, but I definitely felt like the way that she remained calm and kept her cool, I felt like she was absolutely ready.
Okay.
And I had too many guns around the house then just to keep moving without educating them, knowing like at some point she gonna try to touch it and be like, I saw my daddy use this the other day. Let me see what it does. So at that point, I just wanted to practice preventative maintenance. But from her strength to her understanding of it to me saying, hey, keep your finger off the trigger unless you're ready to shoot. Don't point it at anybody. Check the mag. All those things gave me confidence that she was more than ready. And yeah, she started at 3.
And now your 8-year-old, now you feel like your 8-year-old's ready and why?
Because she has a great understanding on what death is. And that
Okay.
these can actually bring about that. My biggest thing with her, where we're stuck at, is just the strength of like actually chambering around and being able to control the gun.
Okay.
But I don't know, Derek was just different. I knew that since the day she was born. Like she just cut different from all her siblings. She's been
Okay.
ready for the world. Like literally, she was
She got a special soul.
yeah, she ambidextrous, she a lefty, just a lot of stuff about her that's different that stood out since day one. I was just like, yeah, she gonna be an easy one to really basically duplicate myself into.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Family Bible.
Mhm.
Is it a spiritual text? Is it a survival guide? Is it both? What is the Family Bible?
Let me pass you yours because this is for you.
Thank you.
No problem.
That's so kind.
And
My
home
Family
baking
Bible,
board
guys.
game.
Okay, we have to talk about this because I haven't seen the Family board game.
Okay.
Okay.
But as far as the family Bible, yeah, I would lean more into when you say survival. So we talk about off-grid living, gold, money management, real estate, guns, mental health. It's like 400 pages of everything that I worked on that for 2 years of everything that I felt like I could provide to the culture that could actually like, be beneficial. So down, like I said, down to their origins, down to their mantra, down to the non-negotiables and their bylaws, everything. Like one major thing with that is my goal was for people to create a code of conduct and a book of relevancy. Because I ask people all the time, like, if you die tonight, what would your children do tomorrow? Most people never really have an answer.
Right.
So that was my way of putting that in other people's hands and basically just helping them take the initiative to create their own bylaws and rules and regulations that they can pass on for generations to come.
What inspired you to write the Family Bible?
Um, I tell everybody I'm death aware, meaning like I have a great relationship with death and I know like I'm gonna go at any moment, at any time. So I just don't want to be that guy who children are like completely lost in navigating life. They have no principalities, no moral code,
Mm,
no anything. They just like a blank canvas out here and they're gonna like struggle with life's ups and downs until their 40s or 50s because
mm.
I didn't impute any knowledge and wisdom in them. But that was my way of like stamping it and leaving it because once I transition, I can't talk no more. I can't stand in front of them and have these conversations. So that was my way of putting everything in the book from A to Z, like literally A to Z, and just being like, hey, if anything happened, y'all got my whole brain inside of a book.
I love that you said that because in Judaism, we don't remember people by their names, but we remember them by their books.
Mm.
So we'll say, instead of saying, oh, Derrick Grace, well, da, 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 we'll be talking about you in terms of the Family Bible says this. And that's how for generations we remember things is by the book. So like it's so important to write books. So that's amazing that you wrote the book and like
I appreciate it.
your you stamped your purpose here. And
Yeah,
you'll
that's like
hope you'll write more books.
Yeah, that's like Curriculum-wise, I think I got 9 curriculums and probably like 8 or 9 books at this point. So yeah, they got a Dropbox with 12 terabytes of content in it from age 22 to so far. I'm 35 now. They got all type of books, curriculum. So they got a trail of information. Should I leave tonight? I think they got more than enough to make sure they 10 steps ahead of their peers in the current generation.
Thank God. Okay, I want to touch on homeschooling and family structure. So I know you don't practice monogamy and you practice polygamy. And I also want to get your take. Do you think a polygamous lifestyle is the way that like the Black community is about to move in? Because, you know, Nick Cannon kind of popularized it, and then more people are talking more about polygamy. And I'm just curious to know if like Black people are starting to see that type of structure or family structure, like what's going to make them more successful.
See,
Or is it just something for you?
no,
That's just what you like.
well, no, yeah, that is what I like. But when it comes to the culture, I'm not gonna lie, I still don't. I think it's gonna take another 5 to 10 years for them to get it and make peace with it.
Okay.
Most women I talk to that I have that type of dialogue with, they're still functioning from an egotistical and a possessive place.
Okay.
And there's no room for that if you're gonna be in a poly type of situation. Like
Right.
there's role players, there's leadership, is you got the fifth man, the sixth man, so forth and so on. So I think a lot of them, I think a lot of women are attempting to adjust to it because they're realizing they really don't have much of a choice because most men are going to deal with multiple women or another woman at some period in his life. It may not be the whole 20-year marriage, but at some point he may find interest in another woman.
Yeah.
But number two, I know a lot of men are trying to take part in it, but I ain't gonna lie, to me, it'd be for the wrong reasons. They doing it for the sexual aspect and to have fun.
I'm glad you brought that up because as someone who lives in the Middle East, like in Judaism, like in the Bible times, you're allowed to have up to 2 wives, and in Islam, you can have up to 4.
Right.
We outlawed it. So in Judaism, we don't practice that anymore. However, the reason it was practiced was about land and property
Right.
and children. It
Right.
wasn't practiced just like, oh, if
Yeah.
I'm open and I'm honest, now I can have sex with everybody.
Right.
You know, and it's still not practiced like that in the Middle East.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I agree because I've done both, but I will say I know like, and it just may be a evolution thing and them maturing. But I know a lot of men I talk to, they just want to do it for the sake of like being transparent about like I'm having sex with all y'all. Most of them are thinking building. They're not assessing their weaknesses and their strengths to see who can play what role, who can't play a role. And I tell everybody it's important to know like who to build with and who to bone. And a lot of men haven't got there yet. They just, I mean, I get it. We all mature at different ages, but they just want to bone. So
Yeah.
I get it. But I do feel like for me personally, it's very effective. Like as is, I have 10 children with 5 moms.
Yeah.
I got a million moving pieces.
I have a little pushback on that. My little pushback on that is my mother has 9 kids. And I'm just saying, like, y'all not birthing at the same rate. Like, come on, these women need to birth more. Like, if you had to have 5 to have 10 kids, like, I feel like each woman should have an average of like 5 or 6 kids, and then you really out here birthing.
No,
that's my pushback to Nick Cannon too. Really make the then.
I'm with that, right? But I'm not gonna lie. I do feel like that would be unfair to give one woman that responsibility.
Not one woman, but if you got 5, right?
Right.
And you only have 9 kids or 10 kids, I'm sorry. My mom is one woman who had 9. So I'm just saying,
shout out to her.
Yeah, so I'm saying the math ain't mathing. Like at least one woman could have at least 5 to 6 per.
If I could have it that way.
And then it will really be a multiplication.
No, I feel you. I'm with you. If I could have it that way, I would. But unfortunately, like I was saying before, like people move with their egos and their possessive state. And they feel like they own people when in actuality, you absolutely don't own people. Like every moment with somebody is a true gift. But people haven't got to that part of life yet. So I know in my personal situations, they'll have maybe 1 or 2. And then when another woman come around, that's when they usually hit me with a dilemma like, well, I just had your baby. So you should just live in the basement and not be attracted to anybody else and nobody else be attracted to you. And I just be like, yeah, nah, it's not going to work. And I just keep it moving.
So you feel like this is like good for you, but not necessarily something for the culture.
Yeah, it may not work for everybody because it's expensive.
Right.
It's time consuming.
It's a rich man's sport. No.
And I'm not going to lie. No, that's what when me and Nick Cannon talk on camera off, he was like, bro, one thing they don't know, he was like, they be seeing it, but it's a rich man's sport. I'm not even going to say rich, but it's a resourceful sport.
Yeah.
You got to know
Yes.
what you're doing. And then one advice, I just gave this to one of my bros yesterday. I was like, you don't necessarily got to be rich, but if you can create a business front that all y'all can eat from collectively,
Hmm.
then you still figured it out as a like create family businesses with these women that you intend to have children with. That's what I attempt to do with every woman I have children with, every woman I plan to have children with. But it does work for me. But I will say you're gonna have to have your resources or create them. It is time consuming and just the emotional side, it's a struggle. For me, some days it's like I'm sure if you see my page, it's two women who are on there constantly.
Right.
When both of them get on my nerves in one day, them the worst days. Yeah, that's
Yes.
those. And then I got five mothers to my children, so don't let me be beefing with these two.
Right.
And then two of the BMs beefing. I'm just like, what the hell is
And
going on
we go
today?
through cycles. We got follicular, luteal, ovulatory,
Mhm.
menstrual. So
Right.
we a whole new person every week with the hormones.
No, I agree fully. So yeah, it is the emotional side I still struggle with because some days I just shut down on everybody and be like, I don't care. I do care, but that just be my
You need a little
my trauma
break.
response to like it's
Yeah.
too much. Like I don't care no more. Well, then leave me alone and just get away from me then.
Okay, so talk to me about the benefits of homeschooling. And I see that in the culture, in Black culture, a lot of people are pushing towards homeschool.
I love it. I love that they making that transition. I've been homeschooling. My son was 7. He'll be 17 in August. So well, I don't personally homeschool anymore. I retired my mom when I was 27, so she does their homeschooling now. But in the beginning,
That's so nice
thank
and
you, thank you.
beautiful.
In the beginning, yeah, that's how I started. That's how I actually went viral and people figured out who I was because I was having the children recite and speak about their homeschool teachers. But for me personally, I love it. One, it's a controlled environment. And I think a lot of people don't take into account that their children are not even ready to mentally deal with what school comes with. They just send them in there. Oh, you're 5 now. Start kindergarten.
Right.
It's some little heathens in there. And they are traumatized. Like I know many adults that their most memorable stories about grade school was all traumatizing moments. I remember somebody beat me up. I remember somebody took this from me. I remember this girl
Hmm.
used to make fun of me. I remember somebody scratched my face, blah, blah, blah. So I love that it's a controlled environment because I'm able to weed out what and who I want to be able to access my children. I
Yes.
love the fact that I know this information is coming from a place of actual love and not just this is my job and it's the curriculum. Let me get this through to you. I love the fact that if my child is left behind or doesn't grasp the information as fast as their peer, they're not gonna get left behind or put in another class in another hallway because they don't understand algebra 2 as fast as their friends do. So
Mm.
I just love the fact that it comes from a place of love. It comes from like a genuine place because I'm your dad. Like I want you to win. Not saying the
Yeah.
teachers don't. Shout out to all the teachers, but I've met a lot of them that want the kids to win, but they can't even do what they generally want to do because they're confined to that system. They have to play by the
Hmm.
rules. They have to do what they're told. So yeah, in school is getting dangerous. Like one of them. This is the last thing I'm gonna say about homeschool, right? This is one of my favorite questions I ask people. If I told you go to the club with me tomorrow, I'm like, look, go to the club with me, but three things I want you to know: the food is terrible. Somebody might assault you in a
Mm.
physical or sexual way. It's a potential.
Hmm.
And sometimes people get killed in this club.
Mm. I
Anybody in your
ain't
right mind
going.
to be like, bro, I'm not going there with you. That is literally the K-12 school system. The
Mm.
food is not up to par. The sexual assault cases in K-12 average between 350 and 500 per year. And we are living in an era where people just go shoot up like 40-year-old men going to kill a bunch of kids on a random day just because he's at his wits end with life. So
Yeah.
yeah, I don't even trust the safety and the existence of my children in those systems. So
Yeah.
yeah, I love homeschooling.
What I love about homeschool, I don't have children yet, and
Mm,
God willing, I'll get married and have children this year. But I feel like you're so close to your parent and that you are instilling the your values into your child,
mm,
whereas when you send them off, they're instilling their values into your child, and
right.
we might not have the same values, you
Exactly.
know? And it's not just that they're sitting there giving your child information like,
Mhm.
here's what happened in 1882.
Right.
They're also instilling their values into your child. And so
Mhm.
I think to keep our values, our personal values protected, that they should be at home with you. And so like when they grow up, they have a strong value system. And when things come against their values, they can speak strongly about it. They can stand strongly
Absolutely.
against it. So I love that you promote homeschool. What are three practical things you want to leave for Black Americans that they can do right now to change either their economic situation, which you talk about all the time, their health situation or their safety situation, like practical things they could
Very
start to do
practical
today.
things. When it comes to the health, which I just got health, I'll be honest, I just got health conscious within the last 2 years, like really serious about it, fasting and things of that nature. But that'd be the first one I would tell them fast.
Okay.
Culturally, our discipline is sexual discipline, eating discipline. Our discipline period is very lackadaisical. So I would say start with fasting. Start like essentially depriving yourself of things that are not necessity based. And not
So
for
not just fasting food, but fasting
yeah,
things.
fasting period. Like I tell
Okay.
everybody, like that's literally in the family Bible too. Like audit in your circle. So audit who you talk to, what you do on a daily. And most of them will realize like 95% of their week is consumed of things that are genuinely not of them. They're doing what either they think they're supposed to do or somebody told them supposed to do. So fasting
Mm-hmm.
would be number one on all levels.
Mm,
When it comes to security and protection, um, something they could do today, enroll in a gun class with their entire family,
okay.
making sure their children, because it's not always about being able to commit the act of violence if violence approaches you. Sometimes it's about de-escalation, which is why I tell people teaching your children how to be articulate and expressive is super important. You never know when he's gonna be somewhere and he got to talk himself out of losing his life that day. So it's
Right.
not like I tell everybody, de-escalation is just important as being prepared for violence, knowing how to move, social cues, knowing how to read the room,
Mm,
awareness. I can go on and on about that. I don't know how many people I see across the street on the phone, or how many people I just see in
yeah.
unaware position. I'm like, bro, if I was a wolf, you and them kids would be snatched up today.
Right.
You said health,
Economic development.
economic development. Something they can do today.
Or just something practical, even if it's not like today, but something practical that they can go out and
I
do
got
to
you.
change their economic situation.
Something practical they can do today. I would go back to auditing. I would tell them audit their subscriptions,
Mm,
audit their items in their home that they don't use, and audit you know what, something no, one even better, an expense tracker.
mm.
I meet so many people that count their money after they spend it.
That's
They
me.
literally like come home, right? They literally come home and dump their pockets out and be like, $2. Yes, bro. You just spent $9 million in the mall. You know you spent it. That was you each register using the card. So I would tell them track
Do
their
you got
expenses.
for that, or
No, I don't have an app. I teach it in my community.
I need
Yeah,
to
matter
do
of fact,
that one?
y'all get the family Bible. Y'all get lifetime access to the community where I teach and that me and my team, Kari, my constituents, we teach every week. But yeah, that would be the big one. And expense tracker because
Yes.
a lot of people be thinking they need more money. A lot of people need more discipline and a better mindset when it comes to money. And they,
Okay.
they really don't have money issues. They got a mindset issue because
Yeah. You
it's
hitting me in the heart with that one.
it's people, right? They like say you 30, 35, whatever the case may be. You've had a job since you was 17, 18.
Hmm.
You cannot, nobody ain't gonna convince me that they ain't had an opportunity to come up in 17 years. It ain't the
Right.
money, it ain't the system, it ain't the man, it ain't the jobs. It's what you do when the money hits your hand. So yeah, I would tell people to and Google help them with that, but they can literally go to Google and say, hey, I want to create an expense tracker, and it will like literally help them map out the do's and don'ts and why they in the same repetitive situation year after year.
Derrick, thank you so much for coming on the
No
Black and
problem.
Jewish
Thank you for having me.
podcast. Can you tell people how they can get the family Bible? And also, we didn't get to touch on the game, so could you explain it
Yeah,
quickly?
so whether it be the family Bible, my curriculums, courses, classes, anything I bring to the table, it's all available at derrickgrace2.com. Everything's under my government name, my YouTube, IG, Facebook. I'm Derrick Grace is second, but on IG it's Derrick Grace 2 TWO. But the
Okay.
website derrickgrace2two.com and then Derrick Grace is second on all other platforms. But
And can they enroll in classes to get training with arms?
oh yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
we
Firearms?
have a website for the gun store as well as gracesultimateguns.com. And like I said, Kari within my community, that's Kari over there to my left. But she teaches that within the community. So especially for the ladies or the children that want to get their hands on training, they want to learn about XYZ, she got you covered on that side. And if they local, like I said, they could literally just pull up to the gun store.
And you're in Tampa.
Yeah, we're in Tampa. We got
Okay.
a shooting range literally 2 feet away next door, and they can come buy guns, train, and then literally walk next door, and they can do the what is it? What's the word? Simulated shooting, or if they want to really use a gun and get in the range, they
What
can do
is
that as well.
simulated shooting?
It's literally like how you got the screens over there.
Yeah.
We have the guns, the airsoft guns that are hooked to the screens, and they shoot the different targets as it moves on the screen.
Oh, nice. So they can warm up with that first.
Right, everybody
Okay.
not ready for the bang bow, so they
Yeah.
can use that light route and not scare themselves to death.
Thank you. This was so amazing. I honestly could talk to you for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do this again.
Absolutely.
But thank you so much for coming on.
I appreciate you as well.
All right, guys, that is a wrap for this episode. Please like, comment, and share. Comment down below. What do you think about the Family Bible? Are you going to go purchase it? What do you think about firearms and training children and women how to use guns? I want to hear your thoughts. And I will see you next week on the Black and Jewish podcast.